I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, October the 26th, brought to you in part by Vitalix, whose starter tubs now have Diamond V new Nature Safe product, as well as Zen Pro's Avela 4 for health and immunity. Get the blue tub. Early winter seems like it's coming on, and some of the northern plains states and areas up there have been having snow for the last couple of weeks, and they're already kind of used to the cold weather. But this last cold front just dipped down into the central and southern plains and giving everybody a shot of it. The biggest part of cattle country will have had a hard freeze here by the middle of the week, which nobody or most people don't enjoy that cold weather, but it will help on straightening some of these calves out that are unweaned and maybe haven't had their shots. Won't be quite as much airborne illness out there, and it's always easier to sell those high-risk calves after a hard freeze, and then when it gets more consistently colder, it's a whole lot easier to straighten those cattle up. But we'll likely jump back up there and get some more hot weather after this first cold snap hits the bulk of the central part of the U.S. But nevertheless, it's getting about that time of the year, and it's getting close to Halloween, and a lot of times we'll have a cold snap before that. The guys down here in the southern plains are excited because there is some sign of moisture. It's likely going to be in a wintry mix, but we would take absolutely anything. It has been so dry, and just haven't had anything. Basically, most areas, especially here in the Texas Panhandle, have not had a spit of moisture since they put their wheat in. And then that's been 2 months ago. So I tell you what, it's been kind of a rough go of it here. But we'll get through this cold spell. What else we want to talk about? Well, they had a little report on Friday afternoon here that we could talk about. Or maybe, like mainstream media, if we just don't talk about it, maybe that just means that it didn't happen. Kind of like these Hunter Biden laptop stories that are starting to float around, but you don't see them out too much. Maybe if we just ignore it, it'll go away. But as much as we'd like to, they did have a cattle on feed report Friday, and I hate to say it, but it was just about like what I thought it would be. It was bearish. The average of the analysts' guesses, they made it really hard for that thing to be anything but bearish. There just wasn't much room left in them, and they thought they had her pegged pretty close, but ended up coming in pretty bearish. And we do want to remember that these cattle on feed report numbers, they are a percentage of a year ago numbers, and they're still they are in comparison with numbers from, we were still going through the aftermath of the plant fire, if you remember, a year ago at this time. And so they could be a little bit skewed, just because they're comparisons. But still, we got record numbers of cattle on feed. We knew that. We had them pegged pretty high, but they come in even higher than that. And of course, we had yet another record since the series began in 1996, and you guys know that drives me nuts. That it's always something. Something's always the biggest, the boldest, the shortest, the longest something since the series ever began. But once again, we had a record cattle on feed report reported for October 1st. Your inventories were come in at 103.9 of a year ago. Your average estimate was 103.2, so that's a little bit bearish, and so we knew it's going to come on your placement ends. Your placements in September come in at 105.9, and that is well off of the average estimate, which was 102.4. So I don't know where the analysts were that were guessing that, but the rest of us saw that there was plenty of cattle going on feed. There was no other place to put them. It's too dry. We couldn't put them back out like we did maybe a year ago, whenever we had some quote unquote average type conditions in our forage, but it's terrible now. Most everybody's feeding their cows down here in the southern plains anyway, and have been for a long time. And even you get out north and east part of your areas like Missouri and places like that, they've been feeding cows, a lot of them, for quite a while too. And they're feeding cows in the northern plains because some places got a foot of snow on the ground, and you're going to have to feed hay when you got that much snow on the ground. But it's, you know, I don't understand how it could be that far off on our guesses. I can see where it come in at 105.9, just don't know why the average of the analyst guess was so low. Your marketings did come in pretty good, but you know, it's hard to screw those up. We know exactly how many cattle they slaughter every day, so it's not too hard to peg that. But 106.2 compared to the average of the analyst guess, which was 105.9. Another Feeder Flash gang member, I saw some comments of his on social media over the weekend, Jim Motis, and we have quoted his cattle several times here. He has high selling cattle and does a good job background and knows. He was making mention, and I don't disagree with it, I wouldn't be sharing with you. He thinks that a lot of these smaller lots and backgrounding outfits, growing yards and things, under 1,000 head, he thinks a lot of those have either went broke or quit. And so we're actually reporting a larger percentage of the cattle that are out there. So, and I don't disagree with that. You know, sure, 20 or 30 years ago, there was a lot of those smaller deals out there that aren't reported or considered to be involved in the cattle and feed report. And so maybe all these cattle are going to your larger outfits, and we're getting a higher percentage of them reported, and it's making the numbers look a little bit inflated, and that very well could be. But I just thought that was an interesting statement to say there, and I wanted to give him credit for that, because I think that's probably about right. Let's look at the board for last week. Your October live cattle futures. Monday is when it was down so hard, and we tested the new daily limits. You remember that? So we didn't actually lock on the new limits, but we went further on the first day than we ever have been before. And we did have, I believe it was November feeder cattle that did touch the limit for the daily move and then backed off of it just a little bit. But they can go a long ways, guys, now. But Monday was down $3.15. I tell you what, it was tough on Monday around, and it just set the tone for the whole week, and it was a bearish negative tone. Tuesday was up 12 cents on your October live cattle, Wednesday down 47, Thursday down 32, and Friday up just 2 cents. With your October live cattle contracts ending the week at 103.35, that was down $3.80 for the week. You look at December, which is your most traded, it was down over $5, down $5 and a nickel at 103.57 to end the week. April, that is always our best and we always look forward to, it's well under $1.10 now, not it's just 109 and change. So just nothing much to look forward to out there. October feeder cattle, of course, it was down really hard Monday too, down $3.50. Tuesday was down a dime, Wednesday down a dime, Thursday down 57 cents, and Friday down 30 cents with October feeder cattle, which are just about done and not much trading on them. They're just kind of lining up with the index. But they ended the week at 133.52, down 4.58 for the week. November, your heaviest traded, ended the week at 129.65, down $5.37 for the week. But it was tough on the futures. Your fat cattle were, of course, lower too. Through Thursday, they'd sold 76,200 head in your 5-area feeding region. Your prices mostly $2 to $3 lower. So live sales of steers and heifers through the week ranged from 103 to 106. But your weighted average is just barely over $1.05 right now. and we'll get your totals for Friday, including Friday, but they didn't sell much of anything Friday. But your weighted average on live steers is going to be really close to 105. That's over $2 lower. Let's look at your dressed steers and heifers. They range in price from 162 to 166, with your weighted average on them very close to 164. So that's your markets, 105 and 164. Friday had a little bit of trade, and Iowa had 800 head confirmed from 103 to 104. Nebraska had just a few loads at 163 dressed, but not much went on at the end of the week. And your best prices by far were paid early in the week, and a lot of them on Monday, with some weak sisters that were bailing out early, but they indeed got some of the highest prices that were paid through the week, because just never any relief from news or board or anything to help the drifting away of the market. But your box beef cutout values were also lower, made it also, which added to making it hard to bargain with those packers, because they're losing prices on their wholesale meat there. But you look at your choice cuts, your weighted average price through the week last week, through the whole week, choice cuts was $209.03. That was $2.71 on the weighted average, cheaper than the previous week. Selects were down $6.57 on the weighted average, all the way down to $191.38. And that's kind of hard to believe, because our national grading average is still hanging up there pretty well at 80% nationwide. So there's not that much select product out there really, but man, it did dive off hard. Pretty decent movement at the lower prices of 819 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Your slaughter for last week was kind of disappointing. It was running really well through most of the week, and then on Friday we had a disappointing 103,000 all. But anyway, for the week we ended up 643,000. That was 11,000 less than the previous week, but still 3,000 more than the same week a year ago. Our weights are still a big problem there, and our year-to-date slaughter is down 3.3%. But our year-to-date beef production is only down 0.3%. So that's how much difference those big weights are. And the latest available weight we have on actual slaughter data is 928 pounds on the average dressed steer, which is a monster. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction ended the week at 132.58. That was down $6.33 for the week. That's a cash price based on all your steers up through the middle 12 states, weighing from 7 to 899 pounds, right around 800 pounds, but dropping $6.33 for the week. Tough, tough, tough. Joplin Regional Stockyards here on Monday, they're expecting a lighter run, and you know, people aren't stupid. They saw that we had a negative cattle on feed report. They knew that the markets were tough last week. They expect the market to be down here to start the week in your big high volume sales, and they're not bringing many in. That they're going to sleep in a little bit, not start until 8 o'clock in the morning, and Joplin got 3,500 head, which is a very light run for them. That they've got several specials that will be coming up here in the early part of December. A lot of those people might decide to wean those cattle, get them on some kind of a health program, and put them through those value-added sales that they'll have here later on in the year, and I think that's a great idea. But your cash feeders in your brick and mortar sale barns all across the country, $6 to $8 lower. Instances as much as $10 lower, and that's on some big receipts, guys. Most all your sale barns are running some of their biggest sales of the year right here at this time, with everybody selling those springborn calves right in here at this time, and there's just too many of them to choke, and then not any place to put all of them. Especially when it's dry like this, we don't have any place to turn them out. There's just no place to put those calves. But I tell you what, the program cattle still sell pretty well. I want to tell you about a sale Western Video Market had last Thursday. Didn't get those on the Friday report, but I'm telling you about them right now. But they had a heck of a sale there for the way things were, and these program cattle. I tell you what, if you guys have the ability to get on those programs, there's a definite premium on them. But they sold some cattle from the 5 Dot Land and Cattle Company, Litchfield, California. They sold 175 head of these 850-pound steers. Now these steers will deliver around the 1st of November. They're all natural, NHTC, GAP 1 certified, non-GMO. They had all the bells and whistles on there, and those 850-pound steers bring 153.50, and that was on Thursday on Western Video Market. Some late week sale barn quotes that I want to give you that were pretty impressive, and as high as they were all week long anywhere. St. Ange Livestock, St. Ange, South Dakota, sold 172 head, 701-pound steer calves at 150.75. That would be smoky high for the way things were last week. Burwell, Nebraska, Burwell Livestock Market up there on the Yellow Brick Road, sold 82 head on Friday, 607-pound steers, 161.25. That's your feeder flash for Monday.